daughter of a OPP police officer. He's retired now, but I grew up with him in uniform in my house. And because of that, I grew up with a lot of fear. Every time he went out the door, some of the stories that I heard, there was a lot of a fear that was descended upon me. And I used poetry to help with those emotions. I also had a big brother, and I used some of the emotions against him in my poetry as well. I started writing to make myself feel better, and my father actually, even though some of the poems were not very nice about him, he thought I had something going, and so I should pursue writing as a career. So I entered university in Waterloo. I went to Wilfrid Laurier University, and I studied history and English, language, and rhetoric. And what's nice about language and rhetoric is that they teach you how to say really nice things when it isn't really anything at all. For example, in my history course, I had a book report that I got an A on, and I hadn't actually read the book. And that was when I first knew that words were my superpower, because I was able to write a lovely report that said lovely things, but didn't actually say anything about the book itself. So now I have the idea that words are pretty powerful. I graduated university with my degree in English and history, and while I was at university, I had met who became my husband. And so I graduated, I got married, and I had kids, because, that's what you do with a university degree. That's what I did with a university. And so as I was raising my kids, I actually homeschooled my kids till they went to college. So needless to say, I had my kids with me 24/7 for a really long time. And so through that, I was a beaver leader and a scout leader and a cub leader, and I homeschooled and ran field trips, and we had Dungeons and Dragons Club and chess club, and I was involved with children for a really long time. And through that, I did some tutoring, and I met a boy named Sean. And Sean cried every day on his way to school, because he was given words that meant he couldn't do it, that he wouldn't be able to do it, and he believed that, and he couldn't do it. I started working with Sean, and every time I worked with him, I told him that I believed in him, that I knew he could do it, and I let him believe it himself after a while. And so last school year, Sean just graduated from college in mechanical engineering. And now we all know that, yes, he can do it. So again, I was shown that words have a power. And so then I opened an education center and ran some classes to teach kids, mainly homeschooled kids. And through that, I met a family, the Hillis family. And unfortunately, they had lost their daughter to cancer when she was 14. I wanted to do something to help with their fundraiser. I didn't know what to do. I hadn't even met the family, but I was inspired by Carly's story, and so I wrote the book Courage for Carly as a fundraiser for their benefit concert. When I first read the book to the family, that was quite a day. So I tried to read the story fairly strongly, and they had tears streaming down their face because they could see Carly's story being told. And it actually ended up that it started to heal them. So instead of posting from then on they used to post about how many months Carly had been gone. And after the book was written, they never did that anymore. Instead, they started posting memories of when Carly was here. And then the benefit concert actually stopped being run because they didn't need that anymore to remember her, because the book now told her story, and the story that she had could be told all around the world through this book. And then I could see the power that words had to heal. I did a stint as a waitress at a restaurant. That's not more than I really should be doing as a job. I'm a little klutzy for that. But friends owned the restaurant. They needed some help, so I picked up some dishes and off I went. And now, if any of you have worked as servers, you understand that words can come to you that are not very nice. And thanks to a book called Choosing Civility: How to Deal with Rude People, It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. I learned that words could come my way, but I didn't have to let them land on me. And because those people, I was just the next person in line to who they were, when they got there, and, I thought, you shouldn't be mean to me. I'm making your food. But that didn't seem to bother them at all. So I just was nice to everybody, whether they were nice to me or not, because I was like, they're not personally attacking me. They don't know me. How can it be personal? And so I started to understand how to put up those barriers against those kinds of words. Then recently, I actually read a quote that said, empowerment is saying the things that you needed to hear when you were a child. And now it all makes sense. All those kids I worked with all those years, all those words that I gave them to empower, to inspire, to encourage, and to help them grow is what I needed to hear. That young kid that was afraid of everything, that was, had fears of her father being killed in the line of duty like his partner was. Those words that made me feel less worthy than I was. We've all heard them. And so I learned that I was using words in a sense that I needed to hear them, and I was helping these other kids. So recently I created the Kangaroo Project, and so that has me going into schools and writing books with kids. I sit in the classrooms and I have discussions with these kids, and I really listen to their ideas. They have amazing ideas. I take their ideas and I write them into stories. I send the stories back to the classroom and they draw the pictures, and we create a book. I created 26 books in the Emotional Animal Alphabet series, and now I'm working on the Super Kids Save the World series. And what I'm seeing is not only am I listening to these children and inspiring these children with my words, they're inspiring me with their ideas to create the story, but we're also inspiring the kids that are reading the books that see their drawings and say, hey, I could do that too. And so I've learned through my journey that words are my superpower, and I choose to use them for good.